Oh,
For the, I can see everything.
I got someone
believe it's,
talking.
on
Do you know
the
how to mute
sale.
everybody?
The list
Yes, I'll
size, I
mute them.
believe, was
Huh?
2
Lynn?
Yes, I'll mute everybody.
webinar, so.
Okay, sounds great.
Except Fred. Here, Fred, unmute yours.
Okay, if I can see your face, I'd very much appreciate it, guys. Always I actually want to do this live and hybrid. That's what we're doing in our sales meetings, and it's working out fine. There's a lot of people coming in live and want to get out of the house and get some energy going, but it's always helpful to get energy and all of that by seeing your face, and I mean your live face. But I guess that's not going to happen very much. I appreciate those of you that did do it. Okay, I want to ask some questions to get things started. And the first question I want to ask you guys is why farm? Why farm in the first place? And I don't know what levels you're on, and because we're on Zoom, it's going to be difficult for me to determine that. Okay, why farm? Anyone want to answer?
It's a source to get leads.
What's that?
It's a source to get leads.
Get leads. Okay.
Build your reputation.
Build your reputation. Okay.
So hopefully make your business more predictable.
Okay, that's good. Make your business more predictable.
To make more connections with your neighbors.
Okay. Connection.
Help you have a steady income for the long term.
Okay, steady income for the long term. I like that. Anybody else? What's that? Okay, let me give you a couple of reasons why. Okay, and some of you hit on it. First of all, wouldn't you rather have people calling you to come list their home instead of you having to chase listings and prospect all the time? Yes?
Yes.
All right. They talked about a predictable income, a high, if you take a look at farmers, and you can take a look at the farmers in your office, it's easy to see that a lot of these farmers are the ones that are having some good success, that are established. You can weather markets, up and down markets, when you have an established farm. And so it means a more predictable income. It means, more control of your business. It means less time and more money, because you're focused on a certain market and you're building your business in a certain market. So there's a lot of advantages, guys, in farming. And those are the things that you have to look at. You have to look at the long-term picture when you're trying to establish a farm, right? And so you have to think, okay, this is going to be a business that I'm building, and it's going to be a long-term business, and it's going to yield results, and people are going to continue to contact me and call me over time once I establish it. But why do you think most people fail when it comes to farming?
They give up too quickly.
That's one reason. They give up too quickly.
Not consistent.
Not consistent. Very good.
They do what other people do. They just copy the same thing and they put their name on it.
Okay.
They expect immediate results.
They expect immediate results. Excellent. Anything else? Okay.
Lack of confidence.
What's that?
Lack of confidence.
Okay, lack of confidence, or the belief that it's going to work, right? If I don't have the belief, the core belief that farming is going to work in the long run, and it's going to mean a more predictable business, it's going to mean a higher income, it means more control over my business, then you're not going to have the commitment to continue to weather that storm in the beginning. And I'm going to try to accelerate that for you guys. So, you know, it's not a long drawn out process, but your mindset going in is the most important factor when it comes to farming. And your mindset has to be this, okay? Your mindset has to be, I'm not looking for listings, okay? I'm not expecting to get listings. But then how do you measure your progress if your mindset is, well, I don't want to sit there and focus on the results and getting listings? How do you measure your progress? How do you say, okay, I am making progress? And I've done this with so many agents that have come to me that I've coached over the years that have gotten discouraged and go, Fred, is this really going to work? Fred, am I really going to be able to get this? And these are buyers agents that are sick and tired of running buyers around all over the place. So how do you measure progress when you're farming?
Maybe the number of contacts or conversations that you have with the owners.
Excellent. So how many conversations are you having? Are you building relationships, right? In the farm. That's how you measure your progress. It's all about the relationships. And farming is nothing more than a system and a structure to build relationships. And we all know this business is all about relationships, because if they like you and they trust you, they'll do business with you, right? If they feel that you're competent. And this gives you an opportunity to build those relationships over time. So as you go down a street, as you're putting out your marketing pieces or as you're door knocking and everything else, and you're going out down the street, your measurement is how many people have I had conversations with in this street? And how many people have I actually gone into their homes or been invited into their homes? Because if you get invited into their homes, right, it becomes you go from a stranger to a friend. And our whole thing is, how can I get into these homes? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But most important is those relationships. And with farming, you're always working ahead of your business. You don't want to wait till someone calls you on a marketing piece, because if your expectation is, oh, I expect, I put out these marketing pieces and no one called me, I don't know if it's worth it, etc. So you don't want to measure that your success based on that. You want to measure your success, like I said, based on conversations. Okay, guys? So that's what it's all about. So as you go down the street, you ask yourself, well, how many people have I actually had conversations with on this street? And if there's 20 houses and you've had 3 conversations, good conversations, then you need to try to connect with the other 17, right? And so people will tell you, we're not going to sell for another year. We're not going to sell for another 2 years. But you know how time flies. And if you stay in touch with those people, now you have a lead in the farm, regardless of when they want to buy or when they want to sell or when they want to make a move, right? So that becomes really important. So I think your mindset, guys, is what's critical. Your belief that if I do this, it'll work. And one of the things that I used to do when I was farming is I'd have a vision for myself. And my vision when I walked those streets was to see my for sale sign in that front yard. And I kept on going and I kept on going, but that's what kept me going. And so have that for yourself, like I said, your mindset. I believe I can do this. It's going to take some time. I am making progress because I'm having conversations with these people. Okay, so that becomes very, very important. All right. So let's take a look at the components of a farm, okay? And one of the things that you want to be firing in your farm on all cylinders, right? And so there's several components that you need to take a look at when you're farming. And the first component, obviously, is your marketing component. So that's number 1, marketing, okay? And I'm going to talk about each one of these. The second one is prospecting. Okay, the third one is open houses. The fourth one is events and community events. And then the fifth one is your digital campaign into the farm. Okay. And so the hard part is setting that foundation and setting that system up so it becomes automatic. Okay. Now, I want to say this. You cannot market your way into a farm unless you got a hell of a lot of money and you can wait a long time. So some people think that they can market their way into a farm, that as long as they put out marketing, they can get business from the farm. And I'm not saying you won't get any business, but it's going to be far and few between. So your job and your whole thing when you're going through this is to get a foothold in the farm, because you want a listing in the farm. And with that listing, you want to leverage it. And I'm going to share with you what we need to do to leverage it. But let's just talk. I'm going to wait for marketing because I don't know, Lynn, if you can check when Greg's going to be in because he's stuck in traffic. I got a bunch of slides that I want to show him when it comes to marketing. But I'll go over this and then I'll go into some of the slides that we put together for you for marketing ideas. Okay, so the first thing to do is to evaluate your farm, okay? And I'm going to give you guys a source to go into. It's on First Place, okay? Write this down. It's on First Place. You go into First Place, you go into lead, the roadmap, excuse me. You go into lead generation. Okay. You go into strategic, it's either strategic farming or territory management. I can't remember, but one of those, you know, buttons. And from there you go into territory management kit. Okay. Territory management kit. And in the territory management kit, there's a questionnaire about 3 or 4 pages in. And before you select a farm, you want to make sure that you can answer all those questions, because the worst thing you can do is select the wrong farm going in. Okay, so you need to be very conscious of the farm and you need to know certain things. So some of the things you need to know is what's the turnover rate? Okay, what's the turnover rate? So let's talk about turnover rate. You know, if you can get a 5% turnover rate and above, it's a good turnover rate. Now your title company can help you with a lot of this, okay? And so you want to make sure you connect with your Western Resources title rep, whoever that is, and make sure that you know, you map out a couple of farm areas and that you determine the turnover on that, and they can do that for you. Okay, so turnover rate becomes important. You know, what about the competition? You know, you want to know who they are. Not only do you want to know who they are, you want to know what their strengths are and their weaknesses are, along with what kind of market share do they have, and you can get that through the MLS. So if a dominant farmer typically has is getting 1 out of every 3 listings in the farm, that's considered dominant. You know, some of them, you know, you get into 40-50% market share, they're a dominant farmer. Now you can go up against them, but it's not going to be as easy and you may get easily discouraged. Okay, but you want to measure market share and you want to measure their market share. So you guys know what I mean by that? If you run the MLS on everything that was listed and sold and pendings in the last year, and you check out their market, you can, excuse me, let me turn this over so I don't look at these calls coming in. And you look at their percentage. So let's say if there's 10 homes that was sold in your farm, okay? and let's say 2 of them was with a certain agent, their market share is going to be 20%, right? If 3 of them, they're 30%. So you got to do some math on it, and then your manager can obviously help you with that, or I don't know, talk to your title rep, because I have my title rep here, Janique, that really helps us with the farming, and she knows what I want and everything else. But you've got to go in with both eyes open. Don't just pick a farm because you like the houses. The other thing about selecting the farm, okay, so demographics, where people are moving, why they're moving. You can always ask listing agents, because you want to study it on, tell me about your seller, tell me where they're moving. And you can get a sense for where people are moving, because you always want to market to the trend. Okay, and I'll talk about trends in a little bit.
Fred,
Yes,
sorry, I didn't find the questionnaire you were talking about.
what's that?
I didn't find the questionnaire, the 30 questions.
Yeah, it's there. He's got to scroll down.
It's page 5.
Page 5. Okay, thanks. Thank you. All right, it's in there, and there's several questions: average sales price, turnover rate, competition, what you're going to say up to the door. If you do go to the door, how much time are you going to spend, how much money and time are you going to invest into the farm? And you need to review that with your manager, okay? And make sure that that's the best farm. Now, a lot of people determine a farm because they like the houses. And then that's a mistake, because of course you got to like the houses, but if you can't connect with the people in there and there's no really a connection somehow, it becomes it becomes a little bit more difficult for you to break in. I'm not reading the chats, and there's a lot of chats here. Lynn, are you on? Lynn?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so if there's any chats on here that I'm just focused on this. So if there's any chats, just let me know.
Yeah, I don't see any questions right now.
Okay. All right. So again, so that becomes important, right? And another thing that becomes very, very important when it comes to this thing is to time block your farming efforts. Okay, time block your time. Now, here's the thing. If you're selecting a farm, there's certain things to consider. Number one, is it convenient for you? That's why a lot of people farm where they live or close to where they live, because it's convenient, or close to the office. Okay, so is it convenient? Number two, is there turnover in those things? Okay. Now, when you're selecting a farm, don't go big if you're starting out. And my whole thing is you should have a primary area and a secondary area. So a primary area, I wouldn't go over 400 or 500 homes, right? Because you want to try to build those relationships, and it's going to be a very aggressive campaign that you want to go in with, and I'm going to share what that is. But you got to time block that time. So in 400 homes, guys, you need to invest 6 to 8 hours a week in the farm. And what I've always taught agents that I have always taught agents that, you want to invest 20% of your time in the farm. If you had a 40-hour week, you want to invest 20% of your time in the farm and the other 80% on cash flow business, whatever that is, whether that be sphere of influence, whether that be open houses, whether that be online marketing, whatever your cash flow business is, you want to make sure you maintain your cash flow and that you transition this, not stop what you're doing and then all of a sudden start farming, because you don't need to spend a lot of time if you're just focused and you time blocked it, and it's in your schedule and nothing gets in the way of that. I remember when I first started farming, there was one of the agents that next to me, and this was when I was with First Team, and he was just a killer farmer. I mean, he had 80% market share, 100% market share. I mean, everybody knew this guy in his farm. So I kind of studied what he was doing and everything else. And one thing that he told me, and I always remember, is he says, Nothing gets in the way of my farming. No inspections, no appraisals, everything, even if someone wanted to come a listing presentation, he would not get in the way in that farming, because you got to create farming as a habit. If you don't create it as a habit and you wake up on Monday morning and you're thinking, oh, what should I put out this week? And when should I do it? It's not going to work. You're not going to be consistent. There you are. You're not going to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you know, you're not going to get results. And even more, you'll lose credibility in your farm because people are going to say, well, they're not consistent. So that's number one. Okay. So here we go. So let's talk about prospecting for a second. And let's talk about the fears around prospecting. So guys, what are your concerns about knocking on the door? Going to the door? What are your concerns? What's the holdup?
Rejections.
Okay, what kind of rejection? So you're afraid of rejection. And
Well,
go ahead.
No, I'm not afraid of rejections. It's just like I don't mind knock the door and start introducing myself, but people immediately say, I don't need it. And they intend to close door on me.
Okay, so you're concerned about, well, rejection. Everyone's concerned about that. Who likes rejection, right? What else?
Catching them
A
at the
lot
wrong.
of people,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see. Start with Queen of Gotham. Queen of Gotham.
A lot of
All right.
a lot of people don't answer their doors anymore. They go to the ring, see that it's somebody that they don't know, and then they just ignore us.
Okay, so they don't answer. I think Anna, was that you?
Yes, Fred, I was just saying, like, interrupting them. I'm trying to gauge different times, and I noticed like around evening time, it was more like dinner time. And I was like, oh, I think that's the wrong time.
So you're concerned about interrupting them. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Here's one I get all the time. Well, I don't like people knocking on my door, so I don't want to knock, I'm hesitant on knocking on their door. Make sense? So let's talk about that, because the only way that you would get rejected is if you're asking them for something. Make sense? Right? If you go to the door and you ask them, are you thinking about making a move? And they say no, you face rejection. And I can guarantee you, if that's your strategy, and or your strategy is the Mike Ferry script, if you were to move, where would you move to? Have you thought about making a move? If you were to move, when would that be? You do that once or twice to someone, and they're never going to answer the door again. So you want to be a friend. Your job is to become a friend to these people. Okay. So, it's easier to ask them for something or to give them something?
Give them something.
Obviously, if you're giving them something, you're not really being rejected. Now, sometimes they may say, no, thank you, and that's fine, but you go to the next door. All right. So on a door knock, guys, and I have one of my top people is a consistent farmer, and he's a door knocker, and he just spends an hour a day in his farm, an hour a day, and he controls it, right? But when he knocks those doors, he's not asking for business. He's just saying, hey, how you doing? And he drops off a notepad, a simple notepad. And notepads work. And they're the best farming tool that there is in the business. It's renowned. And you think, oh, notepad, but people aren't giving out notepads anymore. And they're not knocking on the door. So I'm going to give you a little tip. Okay. So let's just say that you're going to go knocking doors and you're going to knock notepads. And all you tell these people is, hi, this is Fred with First Team Real Estate. Just want to drop by a notepad for you. And please let me know whenever I can be of assistance to you. And you just pause and see if they ask you anything. Because sometimes they'll ask you, what's the house down the street selling for? What's the market like? And those kind of questions. That's it. You smile, eye to eye contact. When they answer the door, take a step back so they're not feel intimidated, and that's all you say.
Fred, would you repeat that one more time, please?
Yes. Hi, this is Fred with First Team Real Estate. I just want to drop by a notepad for you. Please let me know whenever I can be of assistance to you. And that's it. And then smile. That's it. Okay. And you're not going to get much rejection that way. And some people will answer the door and some people weren't. But you know what? There's something about this business that if you do the work, the universe will pay you back as long as you're doing the work. And you will get paid in time, maybe not on your time, but in time you will, as long as you're doing the work. Always focus on the activities. Do not focus on the results, guys. That's a big mistake that agents make, is they're always focused on the results. And then they get discouraged. If you get discouraged if you're not doing the work and you're not doing the activities, I'm going to give you these activities. So 8 hours a week, 6 to 8 hours a week in the farm, right? Now let's break this down to a science. We're going to take marketing portion of it, and we're going to take the prospecting portion of it, and then we'll go further into it. So, people, my suggestion for people that are trying to break into a farm is to drop the farm if you can. Okay, if it's allowed. Drop it. You go to the door. If you want, rubber band it, but you could actually stick it in the door or stick it on the doorstep, but walk it. You'll see people. You'll talk to people. You wave to them. Remember, you're like a politician. You're trying to just be the good guy or gal, in there, and there to serve. Always there to serve. Mindset is I'm here to serve. Anything you need, I'm here for you. You need a handyman, I'll get you a handyman. Whatever you need. You need a painter, I'll get you a painter. You need a kitchen guy, I'll get you a kitchen guy. All right, got it? You're there to serve. And that's a great attitude to walk into with your business, regardless of who you're working with, buyers, sellers, whoever. We're here to serve. So, where am I? Okay, so let's talk about time with this stuff. So if you spend 400 homes, it takes about, if you knock them, and sometimes you'll have conversations, but you don't want to sit there and just gab for 30 minutes with someone thinking that's going to be good. If you can get into the house and say, look, I'd love to see what you've done with the home. Do you mind if I take a quick look? That's one thing. But you want to just make sure that, you limit those conversations, be nice, but then eventually some people are just going to want to talk, and then, you haven't gone to the next house. So typically you're looking at about 30 homes an hour by knocking, right? So if you have 400 homes, okay, here's my suggestion, if you really want to kick ass, this is my suggestion. If you have 400 homes, you want to try to knock those doors once a month and give them a notepad once a month. And you'll be surprised after that month that they've gone through their notepad, a lot of them. And I don't know about you, but I don't get notepads from realtors, except my own realtors, my own agents here. I get notepads, right, Sherry? Sherry gave me a bunch. So, people typically don't get them. And I know it sounds stupid and, like really a notepad, but it works. Now I'm going to give you another suggestion on the notepad, and I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I don't want to forget this. Before you go out, write on your notepad, half the notepads, half of them. Let's say you're going to knock 50 doors. So if you got 400 homes, you want to knock 100 doors a week. Okay. 100 doors a week is going to take you about 3 hours a week. Okay. 3 hours to knock 100 doors. You can break it up into 2 sessions, 50 and 50. Okay. Make this a science. Break it down. So if you're knocking 100 doors a week, and you're bringing out 50, on half of those doors, I want you to write this on it. Sorry, hello. Sorry, I missed you. Would you consider entertaining an offer on your home at this time? Sorry, I missed you. Would you consider entertaining an offer on your home at this time? And then just say, call me. Okay, you guys got that? Would you consider entertaining an offer on your home at this time? Call me. Now, we get calls on that every once in a while. Now, you may ask yourself, I remember I got a call from one of my agents, like it was I was out to dinner, it was 8 o'clock at night, and he calls me and he says, Fred, I got a call on this, but I don't have a buyer. I said, did you say that you had a buyer? I didn't say I had a buyer. I just said, would they consider entertaining an offer on their home? So you go in there and say, I may have several buyers for your home. Let me take a look at it. And your job again is to cross that threshold and get in the house. All your objective is now just getting in the house. And when you get into that house, you want to build a lot of rapport and you want to take your time when you're in the house and get to know them. And your job when you're in that house, okay, is to eliminate any of your competitors, whether they list now or in the future. And by building that credibility. Okay, you guys got that?
Yes.
Now let's talk about credibility for a minute. You know, and I'm sorry I'm getting off track with some of this stuff, but I just want to, you know, as it comes to mind, I want to make sure you get it. How are you going to build credibility in your farm?
Consistency.
Consistency is one way. That's very good. Consistency with what you're doing is one way. How else?
Building rapport.
Well, rapport is another thing.
Knowing the market, knowing what's going on in the farm, what's for sale, what's sold.
Excellent. You got to know the market, right? You got to know what's going on the farm. If you don't know what's going on the farm, you're not going to be able to build credibility. So here's my suggestion. My suggestion is put yourself as a prospect for your farm, and that you know at any given time, because you're going to get emailed, I assume. I'm not on MLS.
You did too.
Can you mute somebody here? I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little old school. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working.
Okay, Tina, mute. Oh, okay, you did it. All right, so so you got to know you're not. So put yourself as a prospect on the MLS, right? So you get whatever comes on the market, you get whatever has sold, pendings, actives, cancels, expireds, etc. Okay, so you know what's going on. Now, if a house comes on the market, right, you want to go look at it. Because if you don't look at it and they ask you a question about it, and you're fumbling around, you know, how are you going to be able to answer that? And I would expand it to you know, the farm, to a certain market, your primary farm. And then I talk about territory management, hopefully if we have time before we leave. So is this making sense, guys? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, so you got the primary farm. So oh, excuse me. So where was I? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Shouldn't have asked that question. Where was I?
Know the market, know the farm, build credibility,
Yeah.
consistency.
Okay. So build credibility by putting yourself as a prospect, and you got to go look at these houses, and you got to know more about that area than they do for sure, and that any other realtor does. Okay, if they happen to talk to other realtors, you have no idea how much credibility you can establish by knowing the market. Now, here's the thing. Knowing the market is not sitting on the computer looking, you know, That's not knowing the market. Okay, you can get some sense of the market, but you know what? They're doing that for you. How are you going to establish credibility and differentiate yourself if you're just on your computer checking out property? You got to get in the car and go out and look at this stuff. You got to know the color of the carpet. You got to know what it smells like when you go in. Now, pictures are deceiving, so you need to know this. So guys, start previewing. Get back to the fundamentals. This is the market for the fundamentals. So, so go look at these houses, because they don't have the time that you have to look at these houses. They have the time to sit on their computer or their phone and on Zillow, but they don't have the time that you have to go preview. And that's your competitive advantage, because most agents won't do it. So anyway, that's another tangent I'm going off on. But anyway, that's that. Let's talk about the marketing component of it, okay? The marketing, again, let's break it down. Walk it. Now, you can do EDDM, which is fairly inexpensive. And if you have money, I guess you could, do bulk mail. But my preference is to walk the farm and drop it. Drop your marketing if you can, if it's allowed. Now, you will get complaints. I'm going to warn you right up front. You will get some people complaining, stop putting your stuff on my door and everything else. Just be polite. Tell them, oh, I'm so sorry. Would you like me to put that information in the mail to you? They say, no. Okay, I'm going to try to skip that house. So you make a note, skip it. Don't bother them. But don't let that stop you. Another thing I learned from that farmer, he says he's concerned when he doesn't get complaints. Now, he was religious and I was religious because I had a huge market share when I was farming, that I was out there and they were getting something from me once a week. Every single week they got something from me. Who does that? You know who does it? The top people do it. The big farmers do it. They're there 3 times a month at the minimum. So I was there once a week, and so I would walk it. So let's break this down. Walking is good. Walking is healthy, right? You get to be out in the outdoors. You get to walk. You get some exercise. It's a healthy thing to do. Not only that, it's constructive, because now you're you get to see people, you get to wave to people, you may have some conversation. Also, so walking it. So if you were to walk your farm, you can walk it 80 to 100 doors an hour if you're just walking it, depending on how far the houses are and everything else. So you've got, let's say if you were to drop it once a week and you take 400 homes, you've got you're walking it 4 hours a week. Again, you can break that up 2 and 2. All right. And you're knocking it 3 hours a week. Okay. So that's 7 hours. 7 hours. Okay. In the farm. I want to get into the marketing portion of this, because there's some things that you need to know about the marketing. Now, guys, I want to address territory management, but the reason why I call this the fundamentals is because I'm assuming a lot of you are new, but there's a lot of ways to get business quickly if you're focused on some of the territory in different ways and you're segmenting the farm. And I'll get into that. It's a little bit more complex, but I'll get into that. But Greg, I know you're on, and let's talk about some of the marketing that I shared with you. And I had we're doing a farm club in my office, and I'm bringing in farmers to speak to agents. And yesterday I had one of my farmers, Mark Ehrlich, that was sharing a lot of his marketing, a lot of things to look for in the farm, et cetera. And then yesterday I had Julie Vach that shared some marketing and a lot of the things. She had a great, farm tips that she put together. But anyway, Greg, let's see what we got for marketing. Let's just put some of the stuff up. The other thing is, look at the trends. Guys, where are people moving? Where are a lot of people moving? Huh? Nobody knows. How about out of state? You think people are moving out of state?
Florida,
Yes.
Idaho.
Okay, so when
Texas,
you find
Nevada.
anything out that talks about moving out of state, I'm your resource. Okay? So Greg, what did we do? What do we have for that? We already did that.
Here we go.
Okay, so we put together this, and Greg can talk about how to actually get this done. But we get calls on this. Moving anywhere in the nation, I am your resource. If they're moving somewhere out of state, don't you want to make sure that you get that call if they're interested, and that you're able to provide information on pretty much any city in the U.S.? Make sense? Don't you want to be that resource? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I gotta hear that. Thanks. So, so again, this is something that we did. We get calls on this, and then everything should have a scan to get us instant value, instant home value. Okay. So, and we have that, all of you have that on your website. So you got to put a QR code. Everything you put out is a QR code for an instant home value. Got it? That's got to be on your marketing. Okay. Now, these reports are in where, Greg?
Okay, so this came up with an idea just to let you know. One of the recent studies from the California Association of Realtors said that anywhere between 32 to 35% of people were moving outside your service area when they moved inside of in California during the pandemic time. So this was highly needed because some people were losing out on the business when they didn't attract them as the buyer. And then other people, they would move out of state, and next thing you know, they're referring it to someone else right in your farm, etc. So, but to get to the point, we have this right here. I am your resource, or we have one for we are your resource for our team. What this does is that everyone has access to the RPR, the Realtor Property Resource, right? Provided by the National Association of Realtors. Every single one of you can actually do what we call a relocation report. You can even go into the RPR, and there's a video on there about the relocation report. And what that does gives you the ability in any major city or the city that has, a decent population, that you can pull up a 10 to 14 page report that includes the summary, housing facts and stats, people facts and stats, economy facts and stats, quality of life facts and stats. So you are their resource to provide them information around where they want to be able to move. So you have access to that.
Okay. So again, now you have something to attract them that if they're thinking about moving out of state. And this has worked for us. We've gotten listings on this. What else?
Okay. Let's see here. What do you want to?
Greg, can I ask a quick question? It's Connie.
Yes.
The RPR, is that on the MLS on one of the links?
Yeah, the RPR, there's a link on the MLS under links. You can go there. Sometimes when you sign on your board, there's a link there to the RPR. It was known as the NARPR, National Association of Realtors, but it's advertised as RPR. So everybody
but
has
I didn't know what it was. So thank you.
Yeah, everybody has it.
All right.
Let's see
What else do
here.
we got? We just put up something else.
Hey, Greg, is
Yeah.
that form you just showed, is that in Mark? Where is that? Where do you find that?
This unfortunately is not in Mark. We've created it ourselves here. Okay, at this office. So what we're doing is
we'll email it to the managers. We'll email
Yeah.
it to the managers. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
And let's go back. You want to talk about this, Fred, or do we talk about that?
Yeah. So, what we've done here, and thanks to Greg's done a fabulous job with this, is putting together product, hot properties flyer and sold properties flyer. marketing piece. So we've got one, and making it easy for the agents. All they got to do is personalize it and get it out. But Greg's done a good job of finding properties with First Team and writing ads on it. And you guys can do this for yourself. It's always good to market product. Product is what people call on. Properties, okay? And always keep in mind, in this market, people are looking for opportunities. So any opportunity that you have, whether it's just be one house and it's a First Team listing, ask permission, of course, to the listing agent if you could market it into your farm. If it's not in their farm, 9 times out of 10, they don't care. Okay. So that's product. So, and then the just sold is credibility, right? I sold. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
And then those templates are on Mark, right, Greg?
Yeah, no, we created this one, but alternative templates are on Mark.
Okay. All right. We do a Valentine's contest. We had so many entries, and here's the tip. We were doing this in the past, but now we put a QR code for them to register for the Valentine giveaway. And it was a $100 gift card to the fish company. Now the office sponsored it, right? But we have agents that if they didn't win, they would, do their own event. And we've got this, and we just did it. We just pulled the thing. We had hundreds of entries, hundreds. It was shocking to see how many people did it. But the QR code, guys, is really important to get that to get an instant market valuation. And then,
well, the QR code, Fred, is also used. It's not for the instant value. I mean, you can add that too as well. But what you want to do with the QR code to make it easy for them is it's Google Forms. You can ask your management team, maybe a freelancer, or we can post a little video in regards to Google Forms. So the exact questions that they have to be able to write out here in regards to filling out their name, address, city, state, zip, email, phone number, please check the following information. Do they want some information on their home, etc. You can create the link. So when the QR code, they scan it, it goes right to the Google Forms. They type it in instead of fill it out here. So it's an option for you. And we have one that's made, of course, it has both with the QR code. But we do the same thing for Mother's Day. We do the same thing for, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, as well.
And then we have a shredding event that agents participate in. We do it here at the office. Agents participate in it, or some of them do their own. So they went and they go and they help pay for this. And, I forgot what it is. I think it's $75 or something to participate in the shredding event. And then then we give them this marketing piece and they can put it out. These are just some events. Go ahead. Let's go, Greg. And then we did this, which was look who's performed best in the last shifting market. And we took the last 15 years, the market between January 2008 when we hit the last recession, 2012, and we put, who performed best, and we put First Team number 1, and home sales and units. Would you rather have who would you rather have listing your home? And it requires a greater level of expertise to get top dollar for your home in today's real estate market. Don't settle for last, call it best. And then the QR code for a home valuation. Okay. And okay, when was the last time you checked your home value? There's another one. That's on Mark, I assume.
Yep.
All right, that's on Mark. So you guys got that. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to do. We don't have anything. That was the kind of the examples that we have.
Okay, what about the stuff I emailed you from
I'm sorry, no, we did not get that. The emails did not come in.
They didn't?
No.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh man, those were good. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you some ideas on this, guys. I had some really good stuff, and I thought I emailed it this morning, but they didn't come in, huh, Greg?
Yeah, they were not in. Nope.
Darn. Okay, let me pull them up on my phone. Let me see something here. All right, you're not gonna be able to see this, but you know, one of the things that we've been doing, you know, like there's some headlines
Okay.
that this gal used. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but it says, "We're celebrating," okay, big, bold headlines across, "We're celebrating." And it says, 5 days on the market, 9-day escrow, full price, and it just sold in the address. Now, on Just Listed and Just Sold, I'm gonna give you a recommendation. Do not put the price on it. Okay, do not put the price on it. You know, just put in there, call for more details. Okay,
Could you show us that screen again? Show us on your phone again?
can you see it?
Yeah, I pinned you, so you're full screen. Yep, I see.
So you guys with tech skills, I don't have any, so I do the best I can with what I got. All right. The other thing is every home has a story, and it talks about a story. You know, these are really good, and I'll get them to Greg somehow and maybe get them. I don't know. We'll have to do something about this. I don't know if there's anything we can do or get them to the managers anyway. But I really like this. The other thing is, you know, what we've done is we've put "Your neighbors moved to Arizona," big, bold headlines. Okay. "Your neighbors moved to Alabama," and they took a picture of where they moved and the house that they bought. And this is something that I suggested a few years back when we were getting more people wanting to move out of state. And so now we're saying where they moved. Okay. So that people now can identify, oh, wow, the Thompsons moved to Arizona and they bought a 5-bedroom, 4-bath home for 700,000 or 600,000, whatever. Or they downsized or whatever. Quality of life, you know, all of that. We've got a lot of that stuff, guys, but that stuff is stuff that you want to put out, is marketing that you want to put out. Always about the destination of where they're going so that you can get calls on it, whether that be a move up, a move down, or a move out, okay? But specific properties. And we can get like properties on Zillow from out of state, maybe promote those, but properties pull. So, okay, so you guys got that. Now here's another tip for those of you that are starting out and don't have a you know, capture your farm. You want to build credibility, and the best way to build credibility, first of all, is to know your market and to know it intimately by looking at them and previewing. But the other way, guys, is to put Just Listed and Just Solds out. Now, if you don't have Just Listed and Just Solds, borrow them from a first team agent. If it's anywhere in around the neighborhood, your farm, or anywhere even in the city, because Just Listed, Just Solds is something that builds credibility. Talk to the listing agent when you see it. Call them up. Ask them if you can put it out in your farm, Just Listed on your farm, and market their property. Just ask them, can I market your property in my farm? And then that's all you have to ask them. Now you can put out Just Listed and Just Sold in the farm. Now, for every listing and sale, there's a lot of things that you can put out. And one of the things is first of all, you've got the Just Listed, okay, or new on the market. But then you have a grand opening open house. So every listing you get, you got to do a grand opening open house. And if you got some money to invest in refreshments and stuff like that, make it an event and invite all the neighbors, everybody in your farm, invite to that grand opening open house. Okay, so that way you meet the neighbors. And any open house that you do, by the way, let's talk about open houses for a bit. You want to get open houses, and every open house you do, okay, you want to invite your farm. Okay, so you put a marketing piece together and you invite your farm. Even if you put it out, let's say if you're doing it on Saturday afternoon, even if you put it out Saturday morning. I had an agent that put out, she was going to try to get it out. She couldn't get her marketing piece out. And she was going to try to get it out on Friday. Couldn't do that. So the only choice she had, because she had all these the flyer. She says, I just got to get it out Saturday morning before my open house. And she was flooded with neighbors. Okay. She did it that morning. Sometimes it's best to do it the morning of the open house, guys, and invite them then because it's fresh, instead of the day before. So grand opening, open house. Obviously, you can do an in escrow. Obviously, you can do a just sold. You can do a testimonial, another satisfied customer piece. And then you can put, or where they moved to, they moved up. Congratulations to the Thompson family. They moved up into their beautiful home. Can you mute Greg, Jeff, West? Okay. And then you've got another, and then meet your new neighbor. Now, how many of you, when you have someone move into your farm, do you go and you meet your new neighbor and just say, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to give you a card, one of my business cards. If you need anything, please feel free to give me a call. I specialize in these homes. And then if you have a tract that you're specializing in, make sure that that's on every single piece you go down and put out. Every single piece you put out, like just your cypress specialist, your what is it, stone gate specialist, whatever it is, whatever the name of the track is, put that on there, or your expert or whatever. But if they can identify with the track, that holds a lot more water. Okay. So open houses, invitations, open houses. If you have an open house board, it's great. Understand you're going to have neighbors coming through. So you want to have some marketing that you do out on the table to show that you market homes, maybe even have your listing presentation or a pre-listing guide on there with you so that, you can cater to sellers too. Samples of any marketing that you do, and all of that. The other thing is, so we got open house events. There's no time to get into a lot of that. I mean, how much time do I have typically on this, Greg?
You have more time. It's up to you. We have up to 10:30 if you need.
Okay, so let's talk about events. A big event that agents do is the garage sale, and I know that sounds corny, but it works, and so they promote a garage sale. Now I'm going to give you guys a tip because there's a thing that I wrote, all kinds of ideas and farming ideas for you, and there's a ton of them, and it's in business plan. What is it? Is it the business plan? It's in the roadmap under business planning, right, Greg?
For the territory management?
No, we already did that. I'm talking about the business planning book that has all those ideas on the back of it.
Oh, the business planning, yes. It's under first place. Go to the roadmap, and then it's under the business planning.
And then there's a business planning booklet, and in that business planning booklet, in the back is all kinds of farming and marketing ideas. Okay, all kinds of event ideas, and I just there's a data dump and we put it all together, and company has that now. All right.
Roadmap and then where?
Roadmaps and business planning and goal setting. It could be goal setting. And in it, there's a business planning booklet.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
It's in the back of that.
Okay.
Okay. So garage sales, all kinds of events. Some people bring Santa Claus in, for the kids, or Easter egg hunt, all kinds of things.
It's right here under goal setting. So I'm just doing it for everyone. Business planning here, and then you have the planning workbook.
And then go to the back of it, Greg, can you?
Okay.
All the way to the back. Okay, here it is. So let me go. Okay, okay, what is that strategy? What is that?
Working smarter, not harder, strategies that will slaughter.
Possible resources, geographical farming. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's stuff on farming, right? Past
Yep.
client, farming materials strategy. There's a bunch of ideas. Farm material strategies continued, administrative strategies. So there's all kinds of ideas. It's a wealth of information that you can draw from. All right. So use that if you need ideas. The other thing is a digital campaign. You want email addresses. Title company can get you some. They're not all accurate, but there's some. The contests, you get email addresses when you do some contests and use a QR code, and they have to, get their email address, right? So you want to capture email address and make sure you have a campaign going out to them, at least twice a month, maybe even once a week. And it could be The Wire. The Wire is a great campaign. If you guys don't know what that is, that's in Mark, and you can include that. But you should have, KV Core can help you, make sure that you get these drip campaigns going out to some of these people. Okay, in your farm, and it's just constant. So not only are you hitting them with the door knock, you're hitting them with the marketing, you're hitting them with open houses and invitations to open houses. Even though you don't have one, you got just listed, you're just pounding it. And then you've got the events that you do and obligating them to that. So, one of the things I remember when I first joined First Team, and I, met with Cam Mirage, and I asked him, because I was wanting to farm and I was really keen on this. So what suggestions do you have when it comes to farming? And he said one word to me, and I'll never forget this. He said, find ways to obligate them, right? So we want to obligate them to you because you do things for them. And the more you can do for them, the more they'll feel obligated to do business with you. Now that's not everybody's like that, because I've heard stories contrary, but 8 out of 10 times they'll feel obligated. So find ways to obligate them, okay? Whether that you find them a handyman or whatever. I want to talk a bit about territory management and segmenting your farm. And the company has put together something that I think is state of the art and unmatched by anything else. And it's called the Home Meta. And I think you guys were exposed to that last week. But it's a way, and and it's like segmenting your farm and doing territory management on steroids, really. And there's all these analytics that are involved, and you target certain people with certain marketing pieces to try to draw them out. So that's coming. I don't know whether it's available to you guys yet or not, but that's coming, and I would take a strong look at that and see if that's going to help you in your farm and your sphere of influence, for that matter. But you want to know what's going on, and first of all, let's talk about expireds. We're seeing more and more expireds. And the interesting thing is, if you have, and these are ways to get instant listings, right? So an expired, if that comes, if an expired, if you look at homes that are, let's say, 80 days on the market, and you go out and preview the home in the seller's home, because a lot of these listings, guys, are 90-day listings people have taken because the market was so hot. And we know how the market goes. It either sells or it doesn't. It either sells quickly or it sits. And maybe the agent is savvy enough to get price adjustments and eventually it'll sell. But if it's sitting after 80 days on the market, there's a good chance that thing's going to expire. So you want to go and preview those homes when before it expires, and build rapport with those sellers. So the day it expires, you're Johnny on the spot and you're right there talking to them, and you've already built some rapport and you've already gotten into the house. So you try to preview those homes before it expires. That's one tip, okay? Another thing is we have access to information that I never had when I was farming. So you know when people are in default on their taxes or default on their loans. You have to go visit those people. And the only thing you say to those people is, you know, you don't have to say, oh, you're in default. Just say, would you consider entertaining an offer on your home? It's all you got to ask them. Same thing with divorces. Would you consider entertaining an offer on your home? That's all. Okay. But you're really targeting these potential sellers. All right. So I'm gonna, you know, I mean, I could go on and on, but I guess that gives you at least a roadmap to farming. But I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, and Fred,
Fred, I
before
have
we-
a, excuse me,
What?
I have a, hey, Greg, how you doing?
I'm
just-
doing good.
Cool,
What'd you
good to
say?
see another Italian on the rise. Fred, very sorry. I know your time is valuable. 30-second question. I want to make sure I understand it correctly. When you say, you know, if you open up a new farm, obviously the just sold, I agree with the product. The just sold and the just listed always generate, you know, interest and questions and potentially probably the best material you can put up. But you said if you don't have listing in that farm, you can borrow it from another agent. But asking permission, why do I have to ask permission? I mean, isn't this controversy being settled a long time ago that you can say on your marketing?
It's not settled. You're going to alienate agents in your office or in first team if you don't ask permission and they find out. So it's not so much of a legal thing as much as it is you know, I guess, you know, just good faith, you know. So yeah, ask them. Don't not do that because you know, you'll piss people off. You know.
Okay. What if they're being sold by other agents?
Another agent? You could put it just sold out. I don't, you know, you could put it just sold out if someone from first team sold it. You may not have to ask them, but you know, it's just customary. You know, you just want to have good relations with your people. You know, your agents.
Yeah, because I've seen marketing pieces where the guy had no share in the farm, was trying to penetrate the farm, and they send out just sold, but they're just sold in the farm. They're not just sold by him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just simply pick.
Yeah, all you got to do is call them out to the board, and they'll stop that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the closings are public, you know, knowledge. So you can do certain things with that in one-liners. You can't use pictures without, you know, permission. You have to do disclaimers and give the credit where credit's due. So you can. There is market updates in regards to solds only, active pendings, you know, active under contract coming soon. That's all, you know, only from the broker, you know, that we're there unless we get permission otherwise, which we won't. And then, you know, it's also a problem if you're going to use pictures because then you got to get permission, but it's always best permission for even our first team agents too as well. Just add as, and you know, you just want to build relationships and good relationships.
Okay.
Can I ask a question too?
Yeah.
So related to the previous question, the gentleman asked, I think he bring a good point because, for example, if you try to farm this area and then your first team agent colleagues who sold the property in that area, now you want to ask permission whether you can use it as just sold, market as for your own marketing material. But you realize in that situation, you're literally going to do the same, going to the farm of the other agents who's already farming there, right? I mean, who would be very happy to give out permission to let
Well,
you
no
do
one. If you're competing against an agent that's farming in the farm, they're not going to give you permission to put it out. I'm talking about someone that doesn't farm there. Okay, so that's common sense.
Okay, got it.
All right, got it. All right, they're not going to give you permission. They'll tell you to go pound sand. All right, next question. Next question.
Just everyone ask your managers to stay out of trouble.
Talk to your manager too. I mean, don't go by me. I you know.
And the closings, by the way, are unless they're closed. You can actually advertise up and market update of solds, and it doesn't matter what broker. But there's disclaimers. There's policy procedures. you know,
Just
that
talk
need
to your
be.
manager about that
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, guys, we're not gonna try to get into that. Any other questions? No others? Going
Yeah.
once?
I have a question.
Yes.
I used to love to do garage sales and they were really productive. And the reason I asked myself, why do you hesitate to do them? I don't know how to advertise them anymore. And I know it's not something you can answer right now, but if there was a way, because before you'd put it in the register, you'd put it in the penny saver. It was really easy to advertise. And today I have no clue how to
Craig,
advertise.
you can do a Craigslist, some of the online. Craig,
Next door too. Next door works well.
Next door.
Oh,
Sherry, go ahead.
Yeah, we run one every year. We go into nextdoor.com, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and we still do online the register, the penny saver, and look into, if you're in that farm, you'll know like any Facebook or any social media that are like groups for that neighborhood you should advertise on that you can.
And a lot of neighborhoods have a neighborhood association like ours does, so I work closely with them.
Excellent. Yeah, neighborhood, that's a good point, Mike. Neighborhood associations or if there's an association, connect with them, see what you could do with them, for them. Okay, maybe you can do something or sponsor something for them. It would be huge. You know, sometimes they have these newsletters that they put out or whatever. Try to get in that. Try to advertise in it if you can.
And the neighborhood associations will ask for, like a donation. So you definitely want to be able to, if you can, put aside somebody to donate, because then they advertise that in their newsletters, like this is who donated, So.
Excellent. Excellent. Who else has a question? Comment, question.
Hi, how often will you send a marketing piece?
How soon?
How often?
Once a week is my suggestion. If you do it twice a month, which most agents do, or once a month, forget about it. I mean, it'll take you forever. But understand, when you watch a show on TV, or I watch football, so if you're watching it on TV, how often do you see the same commercial? Every 20 minutes. It's the same commercial. You see it 5-6 times in one football game. It's the repetition. It's not so much the piece as it is the consistency, the repetition, the ending. So you have a mind share in their mind, right? And so the more you do it, the more consistent you are then. Now, if I was breaking into a farm and I wanted to kick ass, I'm going to do it once a week. I'm going to walk it. It's not going to take that long because I like I said, 400 homes, it'll take me 7 to 8 hours a week. That's 20% of your work week, hopefully. Depends on how much you're working. But if you looked at a 40-hour week, that's it. Now, that's not including open houses, but open houses are very productive because you can pick up leads now, business from open houses. But if you do them in your farm, get plenty of signs, plaster the signs all over the place, and inside the track and everything else, so that they see that you've got your signs out there. That's the best advertising you can have. And there's nothing better than a best advertising is a just listed sign and a listed sign and a sold sign. Best advertising you can have in the farm. And that's what you're trying to do. Any other questions? Yes, Queen of the Gotham.
Hi, my name's Angie. I just haven't changed that. So anyway, so you're in your door knocking and you're asking your questions. Hey, would you entertain an offer on your home? And they say yes. What's my next step? I mean, should I have pre-marketed that?
That's a great question. So your next step is to get in the house. Oh, great. Would you mind if I take a quick look at your house to see if I might have any buyers for it? Got it?
Okay.
And so then now you can go at your sales meeting or your plugs and wants, or even put it on real first place and say, I have a potential listing, right?
Okay.
And does anyone have a buyer for it? But ideally is you want to get in the house and build a reputation. But the point is to say, listen, to get the most money of you for your home, okay? To get the most money for your home, we want to market it to every buyer in the marketplace. And I want to expose your home to the most potential buyers, because I can expose your home to all the over 2,000 web sites, you know, or syndicated sites, and create a demand for your home. So then the more demand we create, the better price you're going to get, the more quality buyers you're going to be able to get, etc. Got it? Does that make sense? All right. Who else? These are good questions. Anybody
Any other
else?
questions for Fred?
Yes.
No, just any other questions?
Oh, I thought. I didn't know.
I have one.
Yes.
Good. Who's
On
it?
that paperwork that you shared with us, we could buy the whole setup, like the notepads, the postcards, through the First Team marketing, and they'll send it out for us too.
Greg.
Well, yeah, you can, I mean, there is notepad orders you can do through First Team, the marketing store. You have that there. You can do order postcards through there. You can do them through Mark. You can get them created. You can use a freelancer. There's so many different options. But there is where, you know, the First Team can be able to take care of it and order that. And they're very competitive on a lot of their pricing when it comes to their you know, their flyers, their postcards, their notepads, you know, right now as well.
Thank you.
And then the you know, we're doing a notepad order, you know, to try to get the price down. So if we can get, you know, 10,000, 20,000 notepads ordered in the office, we can get a better price on those. So ask your manager if you know, get together a notepad order for everybody. And we're checking out prices, and we're looking at Layton as probably one of the better prices, but the company also has good pricing on notepads.
Yeah, Layton Printing is one of them.
Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm with this company for a long time, and you still embody the spirit of First Team. It's the same good old Fred, like always. I want to compliment you for that.
Okay.
You're shining like always, like always.
Who's this?
Mauricio. I'm from the Newport Beach.
Okay. Thanks, Mauricio. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Anybody else? Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
All right,
All
guys,
right.
here's the thing. I want to close with this. Are you going to do it?
Yes.
Nothing happens unless you execute, man. All right. I'm counting on you. We're counting on you. Your manager's counting on you. All right. We can do this, and you can kick ass. Let's control this market. This is our time to control the market. Seriously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are markets for us, for First Team. We've always advanced in these markets. All right. So
And
rock and roll, make it happen. God bless you guys, and
So
onward and up.
Thanks, Fred.
before we go, remember next week,
Everyone.
next Wednesday, we have a top producing farmers panel ran by Terry Cargis. So that's next Wednesday. So you're
I'll
going to
be
hear
here.
some top producers farming too as well. And again, we appreciate everyone here at First Team. Thank you for being part of today. Fred, you rock as always.
Thanks,
You know,
Greg.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Fred.
everyone.
Thank you, Greg.
Take
Thank
care.
you so
All right,
much.
guys.
And thanks, Lynn.
Good
Bye-bye.
to see you guys.
Thank you.
Righty.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.